Greetings to ladies and gentlemen and to the spectators as well. My name is Evano Djatmiko. I'm a final year student in School of Business and Management, Bandung Institute of Technology, and I'm specializing in the finance and banking. And today I'm going to present about my paper, my final paper, which is titled "How Can Retail and Institutional Investors Impact GOTO's Price and Valuation?" Let me tell you about the market that we are focusing today, which is the Indonesia Stock Exchange, or IDX, or IHSG in Indonesia. In Indonesian, they reached an all-time high of 7,355 rupiah in 2022, which is a very good indicator for the stock market. And it has been experiencing a new positive sentiments to further increase their performance with the IPO of a couple of tech unicorn startups in Indonesia, namely GOTO. So let me tell you about GOTO. GOTO is a merger of Gojek and Tokopedia, which is two of the most biggest unicorns in Indonesia. And Gojek, let me tell you about Gojek. Gojek is the biggest ride-hailing company in Indonesia, which recently expanded to fintech with GOTO Financial, and also Tokopedia, which is the biggest e-commerce company in Indonesia, which has they attracted many stars such as BTS for as their brand ambassador. And it is estimated that their IPO value is $27.8 billion, which one of the highest IPO in 2022. Okay, so GOTO, after the IPO, they became the third highest market cap holder in the Indonesian stock market, with 459 trillion rupiah, or 5.1% of the market, which is just below the companies. And the first company is in the banking industry, so it is a pretty big feat for a unicorn, a startup. And this invites an anticipated IPO and hype amongst investors, like not only retail but also institutional investors, because with it immense prospect and potential growth. And it is also expected to be a catalyst of the Indonesian Stock Exchange growth, as it is rooted to the incentive for people to invest in stocks, as non-investors started seeing about GOTO, as they are aware of the brand. They are more interested in investing in the future due to GOTO exposures. And it is also a momentum for tech startup companies to also list themselves in the market or launch an IPO. So this is the price movement of GOTO in the first day of trading, which is April 11 of 2022. Their price, which 338 rupiah, which is their IPO price, increased 18.34% in the first day of trading to 400. So it is a very sudden movement of the price and a very good indication of it also. So, but the question is now, can GOTO maintain or increase its price among overwhelming interest and valuation from investors and also other institutions, or follow the compatriots' path, which is Bukalapak, another tech company that launched their IPO before GOTO, and also received almost the same hype, and they launched their IPO in August 6, 2021 with the price 850, and 3 days later they increased the price 55.85% to 1,324. So it is a very high increase amongst the hype. But as of now, the price stands at 156 rupiah, which is a 90% decrease from the peak price. So it is a very volatile movement for Bukalapak, and also for tech companies. And the valuation from GOTO from several institutions such as MNC Sekuritas, they recommended buy for the GOTO with the target price of 400 rupiah, and Sukor Asset Management or Sukor Sekuritas, another security company, recommended buy as well with the price of 436 rupiah, of course. And keep in mind, this is a projection made 12 months after the IPO with the 12-month projections as well. So let me introduce you to the players in the market. They have two players in the market, which is institutional investors and retail investors. So institutional investors, they are investors that trade on behalf of other interests, such as like securities company, asset management company, etc. And they are the more sophisticated players. They have more knowledge and also information, and they are informed ahead of time regarding stock movement in the market. And they have a huge amount of funds as well, so they can create supply and demand in the market. So for retail investors, it is basically individual investors that trade on behalf of their own interests, such as me, putting my money in the stock market, which makes me a retail investor. And they are less informed because they have less knowledge and also less source of information, and they also have less amount of funds, which is basically depends on the financial power of individuals. These are the behaviors that we are going to focus on in this presentation, which is herding. By definition, it is moving in a group in the sense of accumulating on the same side of the market, either like to buy or to sell for a certain stock in a specific period of time. Hence, stock prices volatility is heavily affected by this. So when we move in a group to buy a stock, the price will likely to increase, and vice versa. And the next one is anti-momentum trading, which is the opposite of momentum trading, which is to buy shares when the price is at the bottom, and sell it when the price increases. So these are my hypotheses. There are three. The first one, it's the bigger the fund that institutional investors has, the more power they possess in controlling GOTO stock price and then retail investors. The second one, the price and valuation of GOTO is heavily affected by retail investors' anti-momentum trading. The third one is the herding pattern of institutional investors' behavior triggered retail investors to follow, hence affecting GOTO's price. Okay, so for the research methodology, I use quantitative approach. The method I use is survey with a questionnaire as a tool. My sample criteria, the first one is they have to be Indonesian. They have to be an active investor in Indonesia Stock Exchange, and they have to be conscious of recent stock market trends, especially about technology. And I successfully accumulated 93 respondents of investors in Indonesia, and I use descriptive statistics and as my data analysis. So these are the respondents' profile and behavior. So the majority of them are 30 years old, 50.1% 30 years old, above 30 years old, and 30.6% 18 until 20 years old. So there is a gap between like new investors and veteran investors. They are the majority of them are interested in tech companies with around 70% of them. And surprisingly, the money invested in a single buy is less than 10 million, and the majority of them, which is 60%, is invested in that amount. And they are mostly aware about the institutional investor, with 75% of them aware, and then 90% of them also aware of GOTO's IPO, initial public offering, and around 31% of them have invested in GOTO, and 38.1% haven't invested in GOTO, which is there's a rest of them which is they claim to be interested but haven't invested in GOTO. So the first descriptive analysis I use is regarding the indicator of anti-momentum trading behavior. There are three questions. The first one is, I will be interested to invest directly in the stock if I feel the stock is underpriced, with a mean of 4.26 and standard deviation of 0.83, which has a lower variance, which means the mean is accurate. So most people are more interested in stock that is underpriced. The second one is, I feel skeptical when the stock's price increased too much in a short period of time, with the mean of 4, which is almost the majority of them, and also standard deviation of 0.92, which is which indicates a lower variance. And also the third one, I would sell stocks when I manage to reach my target return, with a mean of 4.19, I'm sorry, and also the standard deviation of 0.82. which the three of these indicators are anti-momentum trading behavior. So this cement their place as an anti-momentum trader of retail investors. And the part two is about the effect of institutional investors herding pattern towards retail investors. So these are the questions toward retail investors. The first one is, I would invest in GOTO due to high price increase in a short period of time with the mean of 2.06, which is below average, and standard deviation of 1.07. And so the second one, I'm skeptic about investing in GOTO because of other similar companies' stock price that go down below the IPO price in a short time, which is indicating to the events of Buka, which experienced a volatile stock price movement with the mean of 3.06, which is basically above the average, and standard deviation of 0.96. The third one is, I would research about GOTO first before deciding on my investment decision, which is due diligence movement with the mean of 4.4 and standard deviation of 0.84, which is the majority of them. So this is the indication institutional investors herding have low impact towards retail investors, and these are the factors which is due to the high due diligence of retail investors nowadays and increasing financial literacy, which is indicated in the question 6, and also past trauma of Bukalapak, the events of Bukalapak, which is indicated in the question number 5. Okay, so these are the discussion for the first hypothesis. It is accepted, and the arguments that although institutional investors have better funds, knowledge, and information for investment in a bigger scale, and it's the only trading activities from institution and wealthy individuals that invest in big bulk and affect future stock volatility, which is showcased in the by Kusrin Dartoto journal. And during the price rebound highlighted below in the graph, price were heavily affected by institution MG and etc. PD, YP, etc. due to heavy buying. So this is the broker summary between the stock rebound in May 17 until 22 of May. But the counter argument they have is, although suggests CIMB Sekuritas Indonesia as the stabilizing agent, but 6.1 billion shares, which only stabilizes but no impact on the price movement considering the buying size. And also retail investors tend to sell when they are satisfied with the return, which could reflect on GOTO's sudden plummet due to mass selling in the first days of the trading. And the second hypothesis, which is rejected due to the argument retail investors are anti-momentum traders and only 4% of its share are the outstanding shares of GOTO. So hence it gives a little room for retail investors to affect the price, since institutional investors have better power in financially. And however, the counter argument, there are indication of anti-momentum trading and impact in events of underpriced valuation. So right now the price of the price of GOTO hits rock bottom. So there is an indication that retail investor will invest their money there. Hence, it will affect the price in going up and also increasing, which happened in the past. So there could be indication of it. The third hypothesis is rejected, the herding pattern of institutional investors affecting retail investors to follow. So the argument is also the retail investors are anti-momentum traders, so they are less likely to follow the price movement, which is mainly caused by the herding pattern of institutional investors, and also their due diligence are increasing. So they better stall their investment decision and research on their own before they are more ready to invest and more sure to invest. So in this case, retail and institutional investors' activities are independent. So the conclusion is institutional investors still have the power to create supply and demand that the market responds to, but it depends on the retail investor whether they want to react to it or not. But evidence-wise, institutional investors are only slightly stronger than retail investors in this case, in the GOTO case, because it hasn't been affecting the price that much compared to retail investors, which only some indication that we can see in some of the events of the market. And retail investors tend to act on their own rather than being reactive to sentiments. This is due to the maybe increasing financial literacy and also due diligence in the market. So my recommendation for the next research surrounding my topic and my field is to input qualitative research with an interview with expert with credentials, which also will elevate the credentials of this report or the validity of this paper. And another one is detailed data collection and a larger scope of data collection, and also more advanced analytical methods conducted for like the financial valuation, and also like the in connecting the market movement, also the activities of the investors. Okay, thank you for listening. Have a good day, everyone.